Welcome to Friday. It's January 17th, 2025. Well, folks, the weather is going to be wild the next 7 days, and I think even beyond that time frame across the nation. There is going to be a lot of winter weather. No changes to the pattern as the Arctic wave is on schedule and will be descending north to south across the Rockies and the Plain States this week, and then spreading over the rest of the USA east of the Rockies over the course of next week. The Arctic front, as it works its way south today, is going to cause hazardous travel along the path. What we've been discussing about a burst of wind, a severe drop in temperature, and a brief, but a period of light to moderate snow along this frontal boundary will make for very icy roads and highways, poor visibility, and you just really do not want to be driving or outside as the front comes through. If you have to, be prepared. Sub-zero temperatures, sub-zero wind chills through Tuesday. Many areas will not go above zero Sunday and Monday, or just barely above the zero mark. Now, there's going to be a patch of light snow over parts of southern Wyoming and northern Colorado overnight Sunday into Monday morning that may keep temperatures that maybe won't be getting quite as cold, still below zero, but not as far as zero if that patch of light snow, which will have a patch of cloudiness, obviously, may hold temperatures up in a small area, but we're kind of splitting hairs there. Overall, this pattern is going to stay stormy with only brief breaks in the weather pattern. Another wave comes through the west the middle of next week, possibly a stronger wave hitting the western United States by next weekend. But we won't get ahead of ourselves. But needless to say, there's more coming after this one that's going to keep us very busy. The satellite image this morning shows the advancement of the cold wave, which is really beginning to be in its formative pattern right now. It's kind of getting itself together. And you can see right along the Montana border, very early this morning, the front was building and coming south. The really deep, cold Arctic air is still back up further north. But you can see on the satellite imagery, it's coming down. The high pressure ridge is getting extinguished. The pattern that gave us a pretty good couple of past days weather-wise is going to evaporate very quickly. And radar showing the snow developing right along and behind that Arctic boundary in Montana up into southern Canada. If you look at conditions early this morning in southern Saskatchewan, you know, those temperatures, yeah, they're cold. They're not brutally cold, but I want you to look at the wind column. North winds gusting over 40 to 45 miles an hour. Look at swift current there. Winds strong, poor visibility, snow, and temperatures falling. So that's all headed due south into the region. And this is where we are at 500 millibars this morning. You can see that the stacking, the packing of the lines here right along the Wyoming-Montana border. Nothing really to hold it up once it crosses that threshold. And by Saturday morning, the push is now down all the way into southern Colorado, all the way down to Raton Pass, with the trajectory of the air coming out of the Arctic Circle, pushing south. The really deep Arctic air, though, is going to really not start making its move till Saturday afternoon. And then as we get into Saturday night, Sunday and Monday, into early Tuesday, the Arctic air will reach its peak. Then it kind of oozes its way across the south part of the U.S., the central and the east. Very impressive cold wave. By Monday morning, there's a little bit of a tail forming right here that pushes that Arctic air even further westward. So the expansion, the extent of this Arctic wave in terms of how much it's going to cover the U.S. is something you don't get very often. This is very impressive, and it's going to have really big impacts on travel and energy prices and all those things here over the next week or two. Now, as we take a look at where we're going to be Saturday morning with temperatures, notice it's pretty darn cold, but the bitter cold is still back up here across southern Canada, getting into northern Montana and northern North Dakota. So there's the initial push of cold, snow and wind. Then the Arctic air slowly eases its way in from the north through the course of the weekend. This is by Sunday morning. So you can see the sub-zero temperatures are pushing now further south into Colorado, further south into Nebraska. Very cold temperatures pushing deep into Texas, Oklahoma there. Some colder temperatures pushing all the way back into Arizona. Look at temperatures around Las Vegas by Sunday morning. So the westward extent of the cold air gets pretty impressive this weekend. By Monday morning, we are looking at temperatures like this. And you can see there's a lot of minus 20s, a lot of minus 25s. There will be some minus 30s or colder in some of these areas. Temperatures by Tuesday morning, the Arctic air gets its way further south across the nation, but notice we see a little bit off the Rocky Mountain front in Montana. The Arctic air is beginning to retreat a little bit, and Tuesday is a day that we'll have to examine as a day of some high wind, and that'll be something that we'll have to watch. We'll talk about that on Monday. But as the Arctic air masses leave, you always have a period of high winds along the Front Range and Rocky Mountain front. And you can see the temperatures very, very cold across the deep south. And we'll take a look at other parts of the country here in a moment. Look at these temperatures here near the Black Hills by Tuesday morning. But during the day Tuesday, we'll see the Arctic air retreating a bit briefly. When it comes to snowfall, this looks just like the maps we've been showing you over the last couple of days. Right along and both sides of the divide is where the heavier snow will fall as the frontal boundary comes through very, very quickly. So this is from today through Monday morning. Travel in these blue and pink areas will be difficult, not because the snow's deep, but because roads are very icy and there will be blowing and drifting snow. Zooming in a little bit closer into northern Colorado, Wyoming, and surrounding states here, this is what it looks like through Monday. So not a ton, but enough. And take a look at this potential. Not 100% sure this is going to happen yet, but a band of snow from the Gulf Coast. It shows it's snowing over the water. Now, we'll see if that happens. It's just a model, but it's fun to look at. Look at the snow across potentially far south Georgia, Southern Carolina, the Florida Panhandle region. This is by Wednesday morning. Heavy, heavy lake effect snows. It's going to get bitter cold across the Great Lakes in the northeastern United States as well. So this system making a lot of headlines before it's all said and done. This is that little patch of snow I wanted to talk about. Overnight Sunday into Monday morning, there's a little disturbance and maybe just a little bit of moisture. And if there's just a little bit of moisture in an Arctic air mass, it's going to turn into light snow and flurries. Nothing deep, but overnight Sunday into Monday morning, underneath this area right here, you have the potential that may throttle temperatures back a little bit to maybe not make them so far below zero. But there will be a light coating of additional snowfall, possibly across southern Wyoming and the Front Range of Colorado as we get into Sunday night and Monday. So that could add to slick roads and highways and just deepen the Arctic cold across the region with new snow cover. Then when we look at the potential for ice could be a problem in South Texas, even Florida. We'll see. We'll see. Again, this is kind of on the extreme end of possibilities. Look at these temperatures across the deep south by Wednesday morning. Look at these air temperatures in Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. Look how far south the sub-zero temperatures get into the western North Carolina area. So that's going to be hard on the hurricane affected area here for sure. So this is just not a regional event. This is widespread. So briefly, next week, we've got this next front coming in Wednesday and Thursday of next week. This will bring in a little Arctic air, nothing deep, but it will send temperatures down again. So we'll see moderating temperatures during the day Tuesday into Wednesday and into early Thursday. But as we get into the Thursday, Friday time frame, we'll see another frontal system come through. There'll probably be a little bit of snow with this. The high pressure ridge is still off the west coast. Here's the next instigator. This could come up over the ridge, down south, and amplify into a big wave, another big push of very cold air by next weekend. So we'll just have to see. The devil will be in the details, but everything is queued up to stay very busy, very wintry, probably right on through the end of the month, if not into early February. So there'll be plenty to talk about. We'll see you on Monday. In the meantime, stay warm.